No one expected it, no one dared to dream it, but when Ty Borden appeared on the horizon of Heartland, everything changed. A single glance, a familiar voice, and suddenly, time stood still. Fans who had accepted his loss were put back into a whirlwind of emotion. Was it real? Could it be true? In the quiet fields of Alberta, something extraordinary was happening. Amy Fleming's heart skipped a beat, and the world of Heartland tilted forever. It began like any other morning at the ranch. The sun rose gently over the hills, casting golden light across the familiar landscape. Amy was working in the paddock, her hands steady but her eyes distant. Life had been a long road without Ty. She had raised Lindy with fierce love, carried the weight of the ranch on her shoulders, and found ways to keep moving forward even when her heart still ached. But on that quiet day, something shifted. A breeze stirred the leaves, Spartan whinnied softly, and Amy paused. It was a moment she couldn't explain, as if her soul recognized something before her eyes did. For years, fans had mourned Ty's tragic death. The pain was raw, the wound deep, but Heartland has always been about healing slow, steady, and unexpected. And now, in season 19, that theme takes on new life. Amy spotted a figure in the distance. At first, it didn't register, just a man, maybe a ranch hand or a visitor, but her body froze, her eyes narrowed. The way he walked, the way the sun hit his shoulders, it couldn't be, but it was Ty Borden. Alive. Amy dropped what she was holding, her breath caught in her throat. She blinked, thinking grief was playing tricks again. She had seen him in dreams, in memories, in the flicker of campfire flames. But this time was different. Ty stepped closer, not a ghost, not a vision, real, worn, quiet, unsure but alive. The emotions hit her like a wave, shock, disbelief, fear, love all at once. She moved slowly, each step trembling with questions. And when he spoke her name, she broke. Tears streamed down her face. She didn't need answers yet. She just needed to feel him. She ran, collapsed into his arms, and for the first time in years, everything made sense and nothing did. Their embrace wasn't dramatic. It was raw, real, and filled with the silence of years lost. Amy whispered through tears, "Is it really you?" Ty nodded, voice low. "I told you I'd come back." That one sentence carried the weight of 1,000 unsent letters. 1,000 dreams that Amy buried just to survive. Back at the ranch, the news spread fast. Jack was the first to see them return. He didn't speak, he didn't rush, he simply removed his hat and stared. As full of memories, Jack had always been the rock, but in that moment, even he struggled to stay steady. He approached Ty slowly, looked him in the eyes, and finally said, "Took you long enough." Son, it wasn't anger, it wasn't even surprise, it was the quiet kind of love that never gave up hope even when it hurt to believe. As the family gathered, no one knew what to say. Lou stood back, torn between joy and fury. Georgie looked stunned, unsure how to feel. Tim paced, fists clenched, heart racing, but all of them felt the same thing, relief wrapped in confusion. Ty's return wasn't just a miracle, it was a storm of unanswered questions. Where had he been? Why hadn't he come home sooner? And how could they ever understand what he'd been through? Amy wanted answers too, but she didn't push. That night, she sat with Ty under the stars. There was no need for big words, their silence was enough, but when he finally spoke, it was like locking a part of her soul she had locked away. Ty revealed the truth, how he had slipped into a coma after the gunshot, how he woke up in a distant recovery center with no memory, how it took years for pieces of his life to return. And when he remembered Amy, her eyes, her strength, her voice, he knew he had to find his way back, no matter what. Amy listened, her heart breaking again, not from pain, but from love. She reached for his hand, held it tightly, and said, "You. Could we come back broken, I would we still loved you." And in that moment, fans watching around the world felt it to the heartbreak, the hope, and the chance to begin again. As the dust began to settle and the shock of Ty's return rippled through the ranch, every member of the family was forced to confront emotions they had long buried. For Amy, the reunion was a dream she had stopped letting herself dream, but for others, it was far more complicated, because while Ty had returned, so had the pain of losing him, and healing would take more than hugs and homecomings. Lou was the first to voice what everyone else was too afraid to say. She found Ty in the barn, alone with Spartan, brushing the horse like no time had passed. The silence between them was thick. Then Lou's voice cut through it, sharp and trembling. "You know what Amy went through, what Lindy went through." What we went through. Her eyes were filled with fire, not hatred, but hurt. You don't just get to walk back in like it never happened. Tai didn't respond immediately. He looked at her, eyes full of regret, full of stories he hadn't told yet. I am not asking for forgiveness, he said quietly. I just want a chance to be part of their lives again. Lou stared at him, trying to read the truth in his face. She saw it, the guilt, the heartbreak, the man who had suffered too, and though she couldn't embrace him yet, she nodded slowly. Then don't waste this chance. Prove to Amy that you're here to stay. Little Lindy was too young to understand the weight of what had happened to her. This wasn't a return from the dead, it was a dream come true. The man in the pictures, the voice from the stories, he was real, and he was here. Their first moment together was as pure as it was powerful. Tai knelt down, nervous and unsure. Hi, Lindy, he whispered. I am your dad. She didn't hesitate. She touched his face and smiled. You look just like Mommy said. Then she hugged him, her tiny arms wrapping around his neck, and the entire room held its breath. That one embrace was a healing touch no words could offer. For Jack, Tai's return brought back years of silent prayers and sleepless nights, but Jack didn't talk much about feelings. He didn't need to. His actions always spoke louder than his words. One evening, he sat with Tai on the porch. The two of them watched the sun sink into the horizon, the fields glowing gold. After a long pause, Jack finally said, You know, every day since we lost you, I watched that gate. Just waiting. Didn't he say it out loud? But I never gave up. Tai looked down, ashamed. I didn't know how to come back, he admitted. Jack nodded. No one does. You just show up, and then you show up again the next day. That is how healing starts. Georgie's reaction was quieter, but no less profound. She had grown up, matured, and faced her own losses. Seeing Tai again was like facing a chapter she thought had ended. At first, she couldn't find the words. I don't know what to say, she admitted, voice low. When you died, part of this place changed forever. Tai stepped closer, his voice thick with emotion. I am not here to replace the past. I just want to be here now. Georgie didn't cry. She simply looked at him and said, Then be here, be real. We don't need miracles, we need you. And in that simple statement, she gave him a second chance, not just as a friend, but as family. Tim, on the other hand, didn't hide his anger. His reaction was explosive. Rar, he cornered Tai in the stables, fists clenched, voice shaking. Do you know how hard I fought to keep Amy together? How many nights I sat with Lindy when she cried for a father she never knew? Tai stood still, absorbing the fury. I would be given anything to come back sooner, he said. But I couldn't even remember who I was. Tim's face twisted with rage, and then, just like that, it broke. His voice cracked. You should we tried harder. There was silence, and then, finally, Tim took a step back. But you're here now, so don't run again. As the episode neared its end, the most emotional scene unfolded between Tai and Amy. No noise, no dramatic music, just two people, sitting under the stars, wrapped in a blanket of memory and new hope. Amy spoke first, her voice barely above a whisper. I kept you alive in stories for Lindy. I told her you were brave, kind, and strong. I didn't tell her how much I missed you. Tai's hand trembled as he took hers. I remembered you slowly, he said. First your eyes, then your voice, then your name. You brought me back. Amy looked at him, eyes filled with everything: grief, love, fear. You missed so much, she said, a tear rolling down her cheek. But if you're here to stay, I don't want the past, I want our future. Tai pulled her close, forehead resting against hers. Then let us start again, he said softly. Not where we left off, but where we are now. Their lips met, not rushed, not desperate, just honest. A promise not of perfection, but of presence. And for Heartland fans, that moment said it all. Tai and Amy, after all the loss, all the pain, had found their way back, not to what was but to what could be. A love reborn, a family reunited, and a future no longer built on hope alone but on the strength of survival.